Hello, everyone. It's Cassandra Williamson with The Path Forward. Welcome to the evening show. Every evening, every weekday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern. First thing, big thing, I just want to give a big shout out to SpaceX for bringing back the astronauts who have been in space for 9 months. They just splashed down off the coast of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Welcome home, finally. I'm glad they're here, and a big shout out to SpaceX for successfully executing that mission. Now, what are we going to talk about? Well, across the bottom of your screen, you're seeing something down there that actually is talking about that. We've been on defensive for so freaking long now over everything that the Trump administration has been doing. It's been like whack-a-mole. I mean, one would pop up and you try to hit it, another pops up, you try to hit it. All the bad crap that's coming out of this administration and all the sycophants are enabling it. And all the people who are running these administrations who are, as a friend of mine said, they've got their brown badge, if you know what I mean. So anyway, yeah, so we've been on the defensive, folks. There's so much going on. It's really hard to figure out what to go after all the time. But thankfully, they kind of gave us something to focus on, right? So how do we go on the offensive after all of this? After everything that we've seen, done, and heard, and everything that's going on inside the VA, all of the orders that have to do with rescinding the 1341-4, the policy that for transgender and intersex care, that policy was rescinded. And then obviously the ruling that came out, or the statement that came out from VA Secretary Doug Collins yesterday, talking about transgender healthcare, and that it was going to be not implemented for new people coming into the system. But yes, it's still in effect for those members, those veterans who have been in the system and receiving medical care, okay? They're not going to do anything that's surgical wise. They're not going to do anything that 1341-4 covered and spoke about, such as voice training, prosthetics or binders or anything like that. They're not going to do that stuff anymore. There are some VA facilities that likely will. After speaking with a friend of mine today, there are some VA facilities that will likely continue doing a lot of different things. For instance, the person I spoke with also said that the research she is doing that has to do with care and care modalities, stuff like that. And I probably got all that messed up exactly because if she's watching. But, that's continuing as far as we know. But here's the way this system works with this administration, and we know that. We know it. All you have to do is just look at the way these people operate, the way this whole system operates. Now, let me be very clear. I'm not saying that it's just the Republicans in the White House who are doing this kind of thing. Democrats have done it too. They'll start one thing and then build from that and make something else. Well, what's happened in the Trump administration is they've gone way beyond that and actually that have scatter shot. But, you're like a 12-gauge shotgun and multiple bullets inside that thing, and it's just scattered all over the place, hitting everywhere, all at once, a bunch of places, everywhere. As a matter of fact, it's so egregious and so bad that one person is actually saying, this is a Project 2025 person, one of the chief architects for it, Paul Dan, I think that was his name, right? Yeah, Paul Dans. He was a director at the Heritage Foundation for Project 2025. And his claim today is that now he's excited about all this that's taking place all over the place across the whole of the federal government. He said, it's beyond his wildest dreams. Yeah, he said that. And especially, and this is the subtitle for this particular article that's found over on The Guardian. It says Project 2025 alarm progressives by pushing deep cuts to government, LGBTQ plus protections and DEI efforts. Well, yeah, that's not all, but yeah, that's the biggest part of it. That's what they've done, and he is excited about that. That's in his wildest dreams, folks. He's excited about it, and so me find my live screen monitor again here. So how do we move forward with all of this? Well, like I said a little bit ago, you have to kind of think about the way they think with this thing, okay? If they do one thing today, then you need to be thinking of it like, what comes next? Are they stopping with this? Is this the only thing that could possibly happen? Can it be any worse? If you start thinking about the first and second and third level order, things that can be implemented, think about that. That's the stuff we need to be anticipating so that we're not caught off guard by it. Now, let me just say something that in my thinking about this, what we've seen, how this stuff is working with the Trump administration across all the agencies and departments. An order is issued, an executive order is issued, a policy is rescinded or something like that comes along, or a statement is made, such as the one that Doug Collins made for VA. And then what's going to happen from that? Well, they're saying that they're not going to affect and impact the medical care for those currently receiving transgender-related health care, medical health care. It's not going to impact the psychological stuff, the mental health care, and all that kind of stuff. It's not going to go in that direction, and obviously not, as they said, in the direction of medical care either for hormones, HRT, stuff like that. So, but we know, you and I know, we know from experience how this works. They will not stop there. What you see today is very well going to be something that'll be different next week or next month. They will go after removing health care for transgender veterans and stopping the hormones. Right now, that's not, they will deny it. They'll deny it left and right. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Well, last week, whenever they rescinded the 1341-4, well, they denied it. And finally, the secretary came out and made a very clear statement that, yeah, we did rescind it. That's the way these people operate, folks. The question is, what are you going to do about it? How can you help? Now, look, I'm going to be very clear about this. We need to be responsible citizens where we are in the communities where we live, work, and play. We don't need to be out here just making a big scene out of everything, because it's not going to change a damn thing, okay? It's not, you should know that. But yeah, there's no good outcome from making a scene of yourself out here in front of everybody. Yes, be public if you can. Yes, stand up and be loud and vocal about things, but do it in a responsible way so that you don't give them a reason for using you as a prop in their ads and their stories and their punditry over on the other side over there. Don't give them ammunition to be used against us, folks. Now, I was accused of that some time ago, back whenever I did the piece I said where I declared that Kevin Roberts and Trump were all fascists and Nazis and stuff like that. They're not Nazis. They're not even really truly fascist in that sense, but they are certainly strongman authoritarians, okay? And I got called out for that. That's fine. But it turns out I was right. Not so much with the Nazi stuff. No, get it. I understand that. But definitely an authoritarianism that goes way beyond what our Constitution actually sustains, okay, it encourages. But all it takes is one person to come along and then upset the whole apple cart. Yes, there are things that needed to be changed, but a wholesale upsetting of the whole thing and tipping the apple cart over and even shoving the oranges into it, and I'll scatter them all on the ground with watermelon. No, that's going way too far. But that's what we're having to deal with right now, is this rampant, little hedgehog sticks its head up out of the ground and we go smack, 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 smack. A hedgehog might be a little bit difficult to go after, though. They're pretty fast. But anyway, so yeah. So what do we do, folks? You start anticipating what's coming. You start thinking about that. You anticipate the next move. If your anticipation of the next move is wrong, learn from that and go on and try something, think about something else. Figure out where they're headed so that we can be ready for that. That's what we have failed to do since January the 20th. We have failed to get ahead of this and allowed the constant badgering and new things coming out every week, something different. It's just crazy. It's hard to keep up with all of that. It really is. But I'm going to give you a brief rundown of the news here. Okay, really quickly. I've got a couple of things I wanted to talk about. First one is I'm going to share the page, and hopefully you can keep up with me on this, all right? And you'll see the sources. Here's one. And I want to start right here. Trump announces appointment of General Michael Flynn and Charlie Kirk. Okay, let's listen to this, folks. General Flynn, Mike Flynn, has been discredited over and over and over again. Hey, someone asked me if I could bring him on my little podcast that I had a long time ago. And I said, no, I wasn't going to bring him on that podcast. There was no freaking way. I wanted General Flynn on anything. This was like in 2013, 14, somewhere around there anyway. But now here we have Trump putting these people on different boards with the service academies. All right, you ready? Here we go. Pleased to announce. This is the first one. I'm going to blow up this page slightly. Pleased to announce a new board of visitors for the military academy at West Point. General Michael Flynn. Maureen Bannon. You know who Maureen Bannon is? That's the wife of nut job Steve Bannon. Okay. Let's go on down here. Air Force Academy. Guess who they're putting on there? Dan Clark, Doug Nicolai, Senator Tommy Tuberville. I am just flabbergasted by that. But anyway, Tuberville is enough said. And Charlie Kirk. Yep, there we go, folks. And then over at the Naval Academy, we've got Sean Spicer, Navy captain, former spokesperson at the White House for Trump first term, and the Congressman Doc Ronnie Jackson, a discredited Navy admiral. Yep, reduced in rank. He was actually reduced in rank to captain. He was an admiral, but he got reduced in rank. Yeah, okay, so you got that. And then those are the ones I wanted to point out to you on this one. So let's see if I go here, and will it let me switch? Okay, no, I have to go back over and share the page this way. Where'd we go? Here we are. All right, let me go here. We'll cover this one too. Let me see. Let's go right here. Share. This one is from the Daily Caller. Now, obviously, we know who that is, right? Yeah, we do. Yes. Okay, so exclusive GOP rep unveils bill to prevent federal dollars from subsidizing sex change surgeries. Folks, this is, he's not the only one there. He's got several co-sponsors for this bill. It's Dusty Johnson, Representative Dusty Johnson, a Republican from South Dakota. Yeah. And he has introduced legislation to bar healthcare entities from using some federal dollars to subsidize sex change surgeries and hormone replacement therapies. This is Johnson's No 3040B or 340B Savings for Transgender Care Act. Anyway, he's got a bunch of people signed on to that one. Watch for that. I don't know the actual number of it yet, but it's coming. So let me stop sharing there. We'll go back to here and share again. There's another story we want to hit on. Let's see. Third lawsuit. Here we go. All right. I hate these ads at the top of the page. Third lawsuit has been filed against Trump's administration over transgender military ban. This one has been filed by, let me see who it was. It filed in federal court, U.S. District Court of New Jersey, by Master Sergeant Logan Ireland and Staff Sergeant Nicholas Bear Bade, both of whom are trans men and members of the U.S. Air Force, combined 20 years of service, represented by GLAD and NCLR. And you got who they are right there in that thing, if you can read it. Anyway, so I wanted to mention that to you. There's a lawsuit now against a military ban of trans people. Let's go back and share another page, folks. This is some news that you probably have seen, but hey, I just wanted to go ahead and do it. Florida, let me see. Here we go. Now, this is a different tact altogether. And I just want to show you this one too. This is from down in Florida. And you can only guess where this is headed, right? Florida wants companies to turn over personal data about consumers or customers' prescriptions. Can you imagine where that's going? And with Ron DeSantis and Florida? Look, yeah, they're trying to get control of the costs, as they said, make sure that they aren't being charged more. But if you give the data, customers' prescription data, personal data from all of that, guess what else you can do down there in hate-filled Florida? All right. You can go after, let me see, this right here. I'm going to go on down to the next statement. And I'm looking for the right one, okay? And I know it's down here somewhere near the end. All right, right here. See if I can highlight this one. And then blow it up again. Another industry trade group raised the prospect that the state is using the data to identify doctors providing illegal abortion services and transgender treatment for minors. There's no evidence for that case, they say at this point, but these people don't tell you up front what they actually are planning to do. And once they get the information, you can count on them going after everybody they want to go after. That's just the way they are, folks. Okay. Another news story here. All right. In the same story that in the same article I put out earlier today, I mentioned some of the things that the government or that the Trump administration and Musk are out to privatize, take control over, and all that. Well, it turns out there's another one they want to get control of, and that's Amtrak. They want to privatize Amtrak. Now, some people are going to say that, yeah, it's already privatized. And no, actually, it's not. It's still a government entity. The president gets to select the board members for all of that. But there's a push by Elon Musk to privatize Amtrak and also the post office and also the VA and as he puts it, any other organization that doesn't need to be managed by the government, that can be done better in the private sector. Meaning those with the money who can go in and get control of these things, they're going to make more money because that's just the way it works with these people. All right, next one. We already know, some of you have already heard today that the president did have a call with Putin. It's about an hour and a half long, roughly. In that call, the readout from it was very short, they said. In other words, they didn't tell you everything because obviously Trump doesn't want you to know everything that he says to Putin because they're such bedfellows. Anyway, so apparently there's a limited ceasefire that Russia has agreed to with Ukraine and the United States, and that is just to protect the energy sector from any more shelling and assaults. Primarily, that's about the nuclear sites, probably, but the biggest thing is that. But they're also protecting the energy sector in both countries. And both countries, Ukraine and Russia, have gone after energy, oil, stuff like that, in the opposite country. So let me see what other thing that I want to discuss really. No, that's about it. So for 18 minutes, I've talked. I want to close this out by saying one thing, that there is a path forward, folks, for us. And that path forward is to begin looking at each action that is coming, each thing, each policy, each EO, each whatever coming out of the White House or coming from administrations. Don't think of them as the end point. Think of them as just a stepping stone. Think of them as that's what they are starting from, even though they had prior things building up to it. But think of that as a starting point, a new starting point, and where can it go from there? How bad can it get from there? Well, take the worst one out of those bad ones and go for that. That's where they're headed. If you get it wrong, fine. Learning experience. Pick the next one. But we can do that. We can do that. We can anticipate these movements. Now, what can we do with that knowledge whenever we gain it? Well, for one thing is you can make sure that you remain strong and resilient. You aren't caught off guard. You aren't surprised by these things. You know it's coming. You know what the bad things are that could possibly be happening. And I don't want, we know that. We can be ready for it. That means you can anticipate the action, prepare yourself for that, and then hopefully your life can be less chaotic and less stressful. And the idea is that you can find a way to be a contributing factor in your society where you live, work, and play, and in your community where you live, work, and play. Be the best that you could possibly be. Don't be the icon that gets used by the right. Be an upstanding person, living as you should rightly. Okay. In other words, be the light. Even amongst all of the crap that goes on out there, be the light, be strong. You are, we know it. We've been through enough as it is. We are strong and you can do it. And stay focused. Stay focused, folks. Go do something stupid, though. I'm coming after you. No, not literally, but I will definitely make it hard on you. Anyway, in stream. See you tomorrow, 6 p.m.